It's officially the Christmas season, and a couple days back, I put out on the community post asking you guys what you consider to be the best Christmas movies ever made. I got a lot of entries. I picked the titles that were reoccurring the most, and now we're going to put them on a tier ranking. Merry Christmas. Hi, my name is Zach, and I started this YouTube channel because I cannot watch a movie without needing to talk about it afterwards. If you find yourself the same way, you're in the right place. Consider hitting that subscribe button. And while this is a Christmas movie themed video, I definitely want to hear your comments down below what you think about these Christmas movies. And with the abundance of Christmas movies that are out there, these are not the definitive choices, obviously. So if there's a movie that you feel like got missed or overlooked, comment down below. Let me know. We might do it again next year. With that out of the way, let's get started with the tier ranking, starting with the Will Ferrell classic, Elf. And without burying the lead at all with this one, Elf is going in the S tier for sure. Elf is the Christmas movie, for me personally, that gets me the most in the Christmas spirit. Because the whole movie in and of itself is about having the Christmas spirit. Will Ferrell as Elf in this movie, he plays the character to a T. He is so infectious. The joy that he's able to bring about Christmas through this character of Buddy the Elf, it just leaps off the screen, grabs you, and pulls you in with it. On top of that, Jon Favreau has also crafted a pretty great world here of Santa, explaining some more of the lore of Santa, building his own mythology with the elves. That both makes the movie feel fantastical, but also has a realism and a believability to it. All in all, it's a movie I've been watching since I can even remember. I watch it every year. It still makes me laugh every year, and I still feel like joining in the sing-along at the end by the time the credits are rolling. I am so full of the Christmas spirit thanks to Elf. Next up, Home Alone. And once again, this is going to be an S tier movie. I watch it all the time, every year, every Christmas. Macaulay Culkin is a staple in the household as Kevin McAllister. And one of the things that really works for Home Alone, for me in particular, is it is a Christmas movie, but even take the Christmas aspect out of this movie, this works as a really sweet coming-of-age story for the Kevin McAllister character as well. And Macaulay Culkin gives such an authentic, believable performance as this child. He's a child actor who was well beyond his years at this point, but is still able to be so relatable to kids out there, kids for generations. He's still relatable. It still brings me back to being a kid whenever I watch Home Alone. Plus, you got Marv and Harry in there, the bumbling burglars, trying to rob the house that Kevin's alone in. And Kevin getting the upper hand on them is endless amounts of fun. Home Alone is a certified classic, and the family aspect that's thrown in there with Catherine O'Hara trying to get home to your loved ones, the theme of family, just wraps this movie in a nice Christmas bow that just makes it a staple come the holiday season. I love Home Alone. Definitely an S tier movie for me. And following Home Alone is Home Alone 2. Now, Home Alone 2, both by its critics and the creatives, has been described as basically taking the script, copy and pasting it, changing the locations, taking elements that worked in the first movie and just raising it to the highest degree. Kevin had a house to himself in the first one. Now he's got an entire city to himself. Now he's got an entire hotel room to himself. An abandoned house he has at his full disposal to put even more booby traps in for Marv and Harry. But even with Home Alone 2 being a duplicate of Home Alone, it's also a duplicate of the stuff I liked about Home Alone and is done well. It's still entertaining. It still has the heart. It still has the laughs. I still love and adore these characters. Seeing Kevin going up against the sticky bandits, as they're now known in this movie, still puts me in the holiday spirit. Yes, it's a let's do it again sequel, but I'm glad they're doing it again. I want them to do it again. Not quite as good as the first time they did it, but still a very solid and enjoyable holiday flick. Next up, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, specifically the Jim Carrey live action version. Now, this is a holiday movie I put on every year as well. I grew up with this. I love Jim Carrey. I honestly think Jim Carrey did a lot for the Grinch as a character, because before this movie, the Grinch didn't really have much going for him besides the fact that he was the mean one and he had a 30-minute short on TV. But in this movie, Jim Carrey really goes into the loneliness of the Grinch. He gives him a lot of defining characteristics that I've come to associate with the Grinch through his performance, and the way that the movie also expands upon the character of Cindy Lou Who, given her a more dynamic relationship with Jim Carrey's Grinch, I do think is the heart and soul of this movie. And even though I love this movie, there is some issues it does with the story of the Grinch, specifically with the Who's of Whoville, because the whole story of the Grinch is supposed to be the Grinch realizing that Christmas is not about consumerism, it's not about the products, it's about the family, it's about being together, it's about the spirit of Christmas. And in this movie, the Who's also have to learn that lesson too. They are full of consumerism, they are all about the presents. And so in this movie, the Who's and the Grinch are learning the same lesson almost simultaneously, which makes the Grinch's point at the beginning of this movie of not liking the Who's because that's what they think of Christmas is very valid. So the movie does get notched down a bit because of fumbling the message of the original source material, honestly, that badly, but I still really enjoy this movie. I still have a blast with this movie. I'm going to put this in the B tier. I still think that this is a very enjoyable movie. Up next, Die Hard. You guys put it in, not me. And you know what? Just cutting right to the chase. This is an S tier movie. This is up there with Home Alone. This is up there with Elf. This is one of the great, awesome Christmas movies ever made. John McClane, he just wants to be with his wife. He wants to be with his family, but there's terrorists standing in his way. He didn't ask for this, but he's got to be the hero of Christmas. Save the people. Save Christmas before it's too late. Okay, realistically, you can make an argument Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, but there's also arguments to be made. It is a Christmas movie. It's got Christmas themes. It takes place on Christmas. The whole plot is revolving around trying to get somewhere, trying to be with someone for Christmas. You could even argue the plot is about saving Christmas. Just because it's done in an R and bloody violent way doesn't mean that it's not authentic in what it wants to do for the Christmas season, how it wants to be a part of the Christmas tradition of saving Christmas, just in an untraditional way. But in all honesty, we'll move this one down to the A tier. Yeah, I still think it's an awesome movie. I still think that there's things in it and elements that totally qualify it to be a Christmas movie. But if I was being honest, when I think of Christmas movies and the Christmas spirit and Christmas feel that I want to be in for the holiday season, Die Hard's a little bit removed from that picture. But I still love it. The Polar Express. This is one that a lot of people really like. And I grew up with this as well. I'm old enough that I remember I saw this in theaters. In fact, my parents actually got me the bell that had no ring to it from the movie for Christmas, which now that I think about it, it's a pretty lame gift. But it was from the movie. I was jazzed about it at the time. But I'll be honest, the Polar Express is not one that I go back to very often every Christmas. At least not one that I choose to. I feel like the movie has an energy to it that's kind of lacking. It makes the movie feel a little bit more dull and lifeless, that even though we're on this grand adventure on the Polar Express, going to see Santa, going to the North Pole, there's always been something about this movie that there's a disconnect for me with the excitement of the adventure, with the way that the movie is executed. Plus, you know, even though Tom Hanks is in there motion captured playing all these different characters, does a good job with that, the motion capture work is starting to look a little bit dated nowadays and looking a little bit creepy on some levels, but I still do get some warm fuzzies when I put this on in the Christmas season. It does have a nice sweet message about believing, so I'm gonna put the Polar Express in the C category for me. It's good, but I don't think it's great. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This is one that my family and I almost have to put on every year. It's like a rule. It's like we have to do it. It's not Christmas till we watch Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Elf, all that kind of stuff. Clark Griswold just wanted to give his family a great Christmas, but coming with all of the shenanigans and problems that come with Christmas. I find this movie hilarious. I love Christmas Vacation. I think it's very relatable. I think it holds holds up pretty well, even though Clark Griswold is a pretty disgusting person in a lot of ways. But with the comeuppance that he gets while trying to do some nice things for his family in that way is where the comedy comes from. Sometimes you just need a nasty, disgusting person to make a comedy work. And here, I think it works very well. Also, it's got the sweetness of Christmas. The family tradition is in full swing here. It's very relatable. I'm going to put this in the A tier. I really enjoy Christmas Vacation, and I have to watch it. It's one of those I have to watch every year. Following that is A Christmas Story. And honestly, even though this is like my dad's favorite movie, I've only seen this very recently. So this is not a Christmas movie that I've grown up with. Ralphie, Randy, his family, all that is quite fresh and new for me. But I like this movie quite a bit. I can see why it's endured all these years, why people do qualify this as a Christmas classic, why it's a lot of people's favorite Christmas movie ever made. It does have such an authentic feeling and capturing that slice of life of being a kid around Christmas time. Just the journey of this movie of all Ralphie wants is to get that BB gun. The whole journey and arc of this movie is for us to see this kid get the desired wish he wants for Christmas, which as a kid, we were all kids at one point, we can all relate to that. I know I definitely could. And even though this movie's like 30 years old now and the story takes place even earlier before that, it is so relatable. It is so authentic in the way that it captures family life, especially around the holiday season, both for the adults, the married parents, and for the kids going to school, hanging out, getting bullied, wanting that gift, going to see Santa. All of it just feels like it really truly captured the feeling of being a kid around Christmas time. And it's one of the best ever done. And the child actor here playing Ralphie is one of the best child performances in especially holiday films, if not films in general. It's lighthearted, it's endearing, it's real, it's raw, it's everything that you kind of want in a Christmas film. And for that reason, because I didn't grow up with it, I'm not going to put it super high where I put the other ones in the S tier. But A Christmas Story is definitely going in the A tier. And once I start rotating it into my Christmas rewatches in the next upcoming years ahead, I could definitely see it getting up into the S tier. Jingle All the Way. This is a very different movie from A Christmas Story. This is very much taking an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie and putting it into the Christmas movie formula, and it comes out about as much as you would expect an Arnold Schwarzenegger Christmas movie to come out. I mean, he punches a deer in this, for crying out loud. It doesn't get more Arnold Schwarzenegger than that. He's got the one-liners. Jake Lloyd, he just wants to get his kid a gift. I have fun with Jingle All the Way. I definitely do. The farce and the just heightened energy and satire that it's playing to with the Christmas season, the consumerism, all that stuff that's going with Arnold Schwarzenegger's troubles to get the kid the one gift he truly wants for Christmas. I have fun with all of that. For me personally, when it comes to Christmas movies, I do look for the warming feeling, the feeling of family, the Christmas spirit, and just, you know, a movie that I can snuggle up in a blanket with my wife, have some hot cocoa, and just get sucked away into the Christmas vibes. And with Jingle All the Way, while I find it an enjoyable film, sometimes a so bad it's good kind of film, it's not one that's really in my personal Christmas rotation of films that I watch every year. So for that reason, I'm going to put Jingle All the Way in the D category. I don't think it's a terrible film. I know a lot of people grew up on it and they like it. For me personally, it's just not my thing around Christmas time. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, come on. This goes in the S tier. This is a certified Christmas classic. I would be a fool to try to go against this movie that has stood up for so many years, and it still holds up to this day. Is it a little bit of a depressing watch until you get to the end of the film? Yeah, a little bit, but the story that it's telling here about a man, you know, wishing that he was never born and seeing how everyone's life and his life would have been affected if he was never there. The movie plants so many seeds along the way to get us to seeing the bigger picture. And while those seeds could be a little bit sad to watch along the way, they're also just full of life. I think that It's a Wonderful Life has definitely stood the test of time. I don't have to be the only one to tell you that. A lot of people will tell you that, and I think it will continue to stand the test of time for a very long time. This is one that I try to watch every year, even though it's a little bit long in the tooth at times, but it's an S-tier Christmas movie. It is definitely a classic. We got 2 more to go here, and one of those is going to be the Santa Claus. Some would call this the Tim Allen Christmas classic, and in some ways I agree with that. I do think that this is a pretty good Christmas movie. I watch it every year. Tim Allen, prime 90s Tim Allen in this movie on full display. His comedy here works a lot for me. The story of a man who killed Santa Claus and now is cursed with becoming the next Santa Claus. Doesn't matter what he says to people, how he feels about it. It's going to happen whether he likes it or not. And then in the midst of that, you've got a courtroom drama going on with his kid, who he's no longer allowed to see because people think he's deranged and crazy. This is honestly, when you break it down to its bones, a very sad and depressing story of a man who's cursed and is losing his family because of it. When you do break down the story elements of this one, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It does have a lot of logical issues. It looks very 90s. I've never liked the look of the North Pole in this movie. It gets much better in the sequels. But with all that said, this is still one that I enjoy quite a lot. I do think over the years I have chipped away at some of its flaws a bit more, but I'm still gonna put the Santa Claus in the B tier. I think it's a very enjoyable Christmas flick. I really do have a great time with it every year I put it back on. It's Tim Allen at probably some of his best work, and it does have that Christmas spirit to it. It has that Christmas energy, even if some of the lore of this Christmas one is a little bit scary and freaky to think about now, that especially that I'm older. If that happened to me, it's a horror story, but a pretty enjoyable Christmas movie. And the last film that we're going to talk about today is Klaus on Netflix. And I was surprised that a couple of you guys picked this one because this is fairly new. It's very recent. I think it came out on Netflix as recent as 2022, and I've just watched it. I just finished watching it this night, actually. And to kind of just sum up my thoughts on it, I was very delighted by the film. I thought the characters were really colorful and great. I loved how the movie crafted an entirely new backstory for why Santa Claus is, how the legend of Santa Claus began with this postman and this woodsman delivering toys to the kids in this small, kind of crappy village with a feud, a divide going on. I thought the way that the film executed this world and built upon it was very charming, very whimsical, had magic to it. As far as, the explanations as to why Santa Claus is and how he came to be, they were very fun, kind of sweet. Nothing new I haven't seen before. I will say that for me personally, I thought it was a very enjoyable, very charming little movie. Not one that I feel like I'm going to put on, though, every year. It does feel like it's lacking a little bit of the Christmas magic that I get from a lot of these other entries, while still being a very beautifully animated and well-told story. I enjoyed the iteration of the Santa Claus story that they came up with, while it not being my favorite necessarily, or the best that I've ever seen done. So as far as ranking it on this best Christmas list tier ranking, because it's so recent and because I need to marinate on it more, I need to watch it more, see if it really does go into my personal rotation in the years to come. But it was very good. I very much enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys recommended it for this video. But as it is right now, Klaus is going to go in the B tier. Now, it could go up because it is a very good movie. It's just seeing how recurring it's going to be in my Christmas film rotation watch. But as it is, that's where it's going to stay for now. And I think that a B is a pretty good spot to put it, seeing how it is very, very fresh. What do you watch for Christmas every year, and how do you think of this ranking list? Would you agree with it, or do you have different opinions? Well, I hope you do, because I want to hear them, so comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this. If you guys like content like this, you like videos like this, I've got a whole Christmas playlist right over there you can check out with some reviews and other videos and more content right down there as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching and hearing me out. Don't just watch movies, talk movies. I'll see you guys next time. Merry Christmas.